You inherited a house and found 5 women inside waiting for you. All of them, well, almost naked. That's how it all began. Hayato, our protagonist, didn't know it, but what was supposed to be a simple formality after his grandmother's passing ended up being a delicious war with 5 strangers who swore that house and that old cafe belonged to them. He just wanted to demolish it and move on with his life, and they had other plans. The problem is that one of them knew how to hit, and hit hard. The air in the house smelled of dust, and the past 3 years had passed since the last time our protagonist Hayato was in that place. 3 years that went by without seeing her. The last time was a sad fight, but we'll talk about that later. You're selfish, Hayato. You only care about money. The slam of the door he gave still seemed to echo between the walls. Now he was returning not as a repentant grandson, but as someone who came to close the matter. His plan was very simple and straightforward. Check everything, sign the papers, and let them tear the house down. But fate mocked him deliciously because when he entered, he didn't find ghosts, memories, or an empty house full of dust. He found a woman in her underwear with a face that said, "And who are you and what the hell are you doing here?" Hayato froze in that moment, and his instinct only thought one thing: run. He ran off in that moment and crashed into Ami, and Ami had nothing on. Her body was an accusation, and her gaze basically only reflected anger. Hayato escaped as he could, but when he turned the corner, he ran into 3 more women. Riho, the quiet one, Shiragiku, the shy one, and Akane, who was sleeping soundly. Ami caught up with him at that moment. Her leg flew through the air and crack! Everything went black in that moment. When he woke up, our protagonist was tied to a chair, bewildered, with 5 beautiful women staring at him in front of him, all ready to interrogate him with whatever methods were necessary. "What are you doing in my house?" shouted Hayato, completely furious. And rightfully so. He came from a complicated event simply looking to finish that matter quickly, but he found something he didn't expect, and they, in this case Oka, responded firmly, "It's our house. Your grandmother was our family." "Family," he said with contempt. "I'm the only family." Untie me right now. Well, honestly, our protagonist should have thought more about that, considering she had knocked him out moments before. But well, Ami stepped forward and said, "And where were you when she couldn't sleep from coughing, or when she didn't have money to keep the lights on? We were here. We paid for her funeral. You didn't even show up." Every word they told him was like a blow. The guilt returned to him stronger than ever, but Hayato became colder in that moment. "I didn't come to relive the past," he said. "I came to demolish this place. I'll make a parking lot, something that's actually useful." The girls looked at each other with fear. That night, Riho, the smartest one, thought up a desperate plan that you're surely going to love, you rascal. And she said, "He's a man. If we seduce him and get a compromising photo of him with us, we can stop him." It was the last resort they had as girls. The attempts to seduce him were a complete disaster. They made several attempts, but nothing really worked. Oka disguised herself as a maid and tried to be sweet. "Would you like rice, Mr. Pilaf?" Mr. Hayato, with wounded pride, responded, "I don't want fried chicken." She got nervous and, well, let's say she basically burned everything. Ami tried another approach. She invited him to go running wearing basically nothing left to the imagination, and he asked her if she was really going to go out like that because, well, he told her that she's not as hot as she thinks she is. She felt humiliated in that moment with her pride, a bit hurt, and simply decided to leave. Hayato started to suspect everything. He couldn't even shower peacefully because they were constantly harassing him. The girls, who seemed to hate him at first, began to behave strangely, following him and trying to make him fall into the trap they were trying to set. But one night, he found Akane in the empty cafe. She wasn't wearing anything weird, just a notebook and a chocolate cigarette. For the first time, there was silence and a bit of peace. Basically just 2 lost people in the same house until Rio activated her plan B. She made Shiragiku drink a little drunk. She became another person and went straight to Hayato's room. Riho was hiding, ready to take a photo, but Ami came in. She saw the scene and without understanding anything, bam, bam, another beating for him. Well, you can see now, they were trying, really, they were making an effort, but something ended up destroying their plans and they couldn't achieve anything. The next day, Shiragiku smiled at him as if nothing had happened. Basically, she didn't remember what occurred. Finally, the day of demolition arrived. The men in suits were ready. One of them ripped off the old wooden sign that said Family Café Terras. He threw it on the ground. "This doesn't work anymore. You're doing the right thing, throwing it away." Then something ignited inside Hayato. He remembered his grandmother hanging that sign years ago. "Why is it called Family, Grandma?" he asked. "Because here, customers aren't customers, Hayato. They're family, and family never abandons each other," she responded. His voice broke in that moment. "Wait," he said. "Let me keep the sign." The 5 girls looked at him surprised. For the first time they saw a different Hayato. That night Uka cooked rice pilaf, the recipe his grandmother taught him for when she was no longer there. "If you don't like it, throw it away," she said softly. The first bite made him cry. He remembered his grandmother crying alone, full of doubts, while he promised himself to return when he had money, and he never came back. In that moment, something came to his mind, and he asked, "How did she die?" He asked them without even daring to look at them. "We were all having dinner together," they responded. "She said she was tired and went to sleep. She simply passed away peacefully." Hayato smiled weakly. "I'm glad she died happy with her true family." For the first time, he felt at peace. That night, Hayato reviewed the cafe's accounts, as they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and he gathered everyone. He told them he was going to take charge, and that he was giving them 1 year. If in 1 year they couldn't get the place back on its feet, he would finally have to demolish it. The deal was made. Living together was basically chaos. Fights, excuses, and screaming until Shiragiku spoke. "I can cook and clean. I don't mind." Everyone went silent in that moment, but the calm didn't last long. A misunderstanding with underwear ended with Hayato cleaning the entire cafe. Ami came back to hit him. It had almost become customary for them to hit him. Then he tried to make coffee and it was horrible. Akane said, "You know so much about business, but this coffee tastes worse than elephant piss." Humiliated, he stayed up all night practicing until she finally came back to teach him how to do it right. And, well, the flavor was basically the same as his grandmother used to make when he finally got it. In that moment, he simply asked her to please teach him, and this was the first time our protagonist let her guard down. From that moment, everything changed. Saving the cafe wasn't just luck, but hard work. Riho got new suppliers, Oka designed uniforms, Ami defended the place, Akane played music, and Shiragiku kept it clean, and Hayato learned humility. There were problems, tears, and also laughter. He discovered that he wasn't just saving a business, he was learning to forgive himself because the true aroma of coffee sometimes takes time to appear. But believe me, it's much better when it comes from the hand of 5 beautiful women. However, here's a story of a guy who fell in love with the person he hated most and ended up being very lucky because of it. Here, I leave it for you. Go watch it, I'm sure you'll like it. Goodbye.